I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where I break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. And today, it's the Black Cats beating Bournemouth. Strange game, full of mistakes, and I've got lots to talk about for you today. Now, well, as you well know, that most goals in football aren't scored. They're the other team doing something stupid. Very rarely do you get a goal scored from, the halfway line and just chipping the goalkeeper. That does happen today, by the way. But here you can see, okay, so the first point when you're watching this, right? I can't really let it play for too long, obviously. You know why. But you can see, look, he looks like he's trying to pressure the ball, but he's not. He's stood and he's froze. That's the ball. This guy now gets to pick out a worldy pass. Well, it's not a worldy pass. He's under no pressure whatsoever. He can sit there and ping this ball wherever he wants. And all of Sunderland are static. Basically, watch him find the pass he wants to play, which he does. And this is the key point. When he passes the ball, the Sunderland player is nowhere near close enough to challenge or make him make a mistake, make him hesitate, guess his pass, slow his backswing down, or do any of those things. He just gets to put the ball exactly where he wants. Now, we're just going to pop down the bottom here so we get a clearer view of what I want to show you. So, my first inclinations here is the Sunderland right back slips. Now, this is one of those other problems I have with watching things back on highlights and not watching the game. And even then on the game, you don't really get to know because they don't actually give you the replays. He's up against a big lad here. I can't pronounce his name properly. The one there everyone's trying to buy. And does he push him over? Does he actually slip, or is he like knocked over here? Because it's a little bit dodgy to me. There's a couple of decisions in this game. It's like on first look, I wasn't 100% sure. I had to look at it a couple of times, and still I'm questioning it. This is one. I'm like, did he slip or was he pushed here? Was there enough there as a push? And there's not enough close enough angle on it. We can't really have a good look at it. And that's one of these things that frustrates me in the Premier League when they're using this VAR and all this video nonsense. When you got a decision like that, which changes the goal or not, and it's not clear enough on the replay. It's not zoomed in to show you, no, he didn't push him. And it always makes me suspicious, as you well know, when they haven't shown you a little close-up of him, slipping or falling, his foot slipping out of the way or whatever it is. So now I'm just having to make my decision, which is based on all the other decisions that I make when you hide stuff, which you're not giving me a replay. Was that a foul? Don't know, but he's in behind anyway. Now, this is some of the interesting points you're going to look at right here. Let's just move myself back up here. I didn't have to move. I could have stayed up there. Hey. 2v1. Okay. Where's the space? Remember those players that I said that were stood still static, right? Watch what ends up happening. There's another key sort of component that I haven't really highlighted, which is one of those things where sometimes I assume everybody else knows or sees what I'm already seeing without me having to explain it. And it's very different from when you're on a field and you're getting teams to do something, because I'm just getting them to do it. I'm not actually explaining to them the problem of what's going wrong. I'm just going, okay, so this, you need to be doing this when this is happening. So they just just do it instead. But that's the problem I'm seeing. Sorry, is that massive gap of separation there, and these two are slow to react to when that ball is played. They're stood still. They only start running now after he's made a mistake. Okay, so I was noticing this. Who's the team? I'll tell you who it is. Another team is doing this quite a lot in the Premier League, and I'm sure I'm going to start talking about it because I watched one of their halves. I can't remember who they played. I was Nottingham Forest. Yeah, it was Nottingham Forest Liverpool. It's the Liverpool team. The Liverpool team are so bad because they're reactional playing. So what does that mean, right? So when this right back makes a slip, the rest of his team haven't done what they're supposed to have done. As soon as that ball's played, all these static players should have already been moving back, and they would have been about here, okay? But they haven't. What they've done is just assumed he's winning the header because, well, he wins the header, and not being what we used to call it in football is they're cheating. Okay, and you go, what do you mean they're cheating? Well, what happens when you don't do things right? Okay, and you're staying further up the field, or you're not coming back into the right position. You're banking on your teammate being better than them, so then they're out of position because you're cheating. You're staying higher up. You're cheating in the system because, well, if I don't have to go back to that 5 yards because my teammate's going to help me out. And we normally associate with, especially out wide on the flanks, where the right back won't come back all the way. Well, because he's staying forward, he's cheating because he knows that their left winger isn't good enough to beat their centre back. The centre back's going to win the ball, and he gets to stay out there. And then we get a counter attack and go the other way. It's laziness, and what it ends up doing is making your team get into a situation where you're overconfident and over trusting, where you should just be doing the simple things. As soon as that's ball played, all of these should have been on their foot, backpedaling. Just to clarify and show you exactly what I mean, this is the ball in flight, and this is the ball in motion, blump, 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 and can you see none of them are moving and anticipating the danger. The ball's coming in, they're assuming he's going to get it. No one has started to make their recovery runs yet at all. So look, still cheating. Walking. None of them are trying to close this gap. And as you can see, the defenders who can't ever really cheat, they're going back. This gap is getting bigger. These players are getting further away because they are stationary, ball watching, assuming that he's going to win the ball. As soon as he doesn't, now they've got to react. If you know, you know. What is this motion? Does anyone know what this is? Write it in the comments before I say it. I'll give you 5, 4. Oh, wait. Yeah. This is I'm running, but I'm not really running motion. That's what that is. I've got my head down. I'm trying to make it look like I'm recovering, but I'm not, because he knows he's made a mistake. Classic body language in football, that oopsie doopsie, I should have been doing something else. Now it's 2v1 in the middle here, and this is the problem runner. Here was the other thing. They were 2v1 quite comfortably, one on one side, one on the other, tracking him, and he still gets away. You, bad, junk, no, not good enough. Bump, finish. And now comes the bounce. Look at him slowing down. Do you see that? He doesn't keep running. Look at his shape. He doesn't keep going forward. Now, this is one of those other things that people do in football. I could talk about it all the time. What they do is they match the enemy's run. So he's running in and he starts to slow down. Automatically, this player starts to slow down with him. Instead of reading the danger, seeing what's in front of him, there's a massive gap and a player unmarked, and he needs to get back and cover that space. There's no one there. Absolutely no one there. So now when the ball ends up dropping, it's just a tap-in. Very, very simple, but to be honest, very lazy. But let's move it on, because we've got lots more to talk about. This is a weird one, and I'll tell you what's going on here. All right, so he's having a bad day. I think he's the same central midfielder I was just ragging on a second ago. But this isn't his fault, right? Well, it is, but it is his fault, but not for the reasons you're probably thinking. So this is where the challenge is coming in right here, and they're going to nick the ball. All right, touches the ball, but he's not thinking that. He's thinking his teammate's passing it, right? He's assuming, but watch his body language. He's assuming that he's passing to somebody over there, because there's no way that he's going to miss him by that much. And because he's not on it today, if he was, he would have already seen that wasn't going wrong. You'd already seen in the clip a second ago when the ball's played, he stood there and watched the ball go and go, oh, bugger, I've got to run after it. So when this tackle happens, move it forward. See him, he stopped waiting. He's assuming the ball's getting passed to someone over there and he's waiting to receive it. And he suddenly realised, uh-oh, he's been tackled and I need to get to that ball as fast as I can. But it's all too late. He's just assuming it's a bad pass. He's not assuming that there isn't anybody there or really any dangers whatsoever. Maybe he didn't have his Weetabix in the morning. Maybe something's off, but he's Xing and everybody else is Oing, and he isn't seeing what's going on in this game of football. Boom. Now look, ball like lightning, gone past him. Absolutely, completely and utterly unaware that this guy's running behind. And here he is, taking his shot, beating the keeper from the halfway, it's not the halfway line, it's just inside the centre circle. Look, bump, right there, bump, that's where he takes his shot from as he goes. But I want to show you from the other angle. From this moment here, you can see he's got his head up looking at the keeper, and he knows he can chip the keeper. He's got the keeper off. Like, I don't know what the keeper's doing that far out. Got no idea. Again, he's just not quite with it. Like, he knows he shouldn't be that high. No, like, you can't be beaten from there. You can't be that far forward that you're not, stopping the ball. The keeper knows he's made a mistake. Doesn't need to be told it. It's one of those things where you just, pat your keeper on the head and say, yeah, that was dumb, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Yeah, he knows. It doesn't need to be told. Again, that's overconfidence. When you're playing well and you're doing things, sometimes you just get a little bit too cocky. And to be fair, it's not a bad thing for a goalkeeper to have that happen to him in a game that you end up winning, because he'll learn from it and he won't worry about it. If he lost the game, it'll be in the keeper's head forever, and he'd be so worried about it, like every minute of the day. Oh my God, yeah, but it's not. It's actually, it sounds silly, but these things can actually be confidence building for goalkeepers, because he knows he's not going to want to make that mistake ever again, and he's not worried because they didn't lose. So it's very strange of how the psyche will play on you. If you lost though, different world. But let's move it on. We do have to show it going in though, because the keeper does, little woofy, bump, goes in. Remember, if he made sound effects, he would have got 2 points. Let's move it on. This is one of those ones that I need a little bit more another angle for, because I don't think this is a penalty. Okay, let me tell you why. There's one or two things happen. One, it makes it a penalty, or two, it doesn't. And I want to know the two, right? So look where his leg is. Okay, he's doing the splits to jump in front of this player. This player's got no idea that the Sunderland player is with him. He's just trying to play the ball. He kicks the Sunderland player because, well, the Sunderland player is putting his foot in front of him. He's ended up kicking the Sunderland player. You can see, look how big his gait is, and he's stretched to put his body in between the player. Well, he's not in possession of the ball. Yeah, he gets kicked, but he's leached, like he's almost thrown himself in front of the player to get kicked. It's not like he's playing the ball. So that's one of those weird. If I'm right and that's what's going on there, that's not a penalty. This guy's, look how wide his legs are apart to try to touch the ball here. That means like he's just stretching while this guy's just trying. Look, you can see. Look at his body shape. He's making a pass. He's passing. The other guy's just put his foot in front of him and he's kicked him and gone, he's kicked my foot. Yeah, but you're not trying to play the ball. You've dived in front of him. Yeah, it's so bizarre. But of course, they don't give me a good enough replay because I guarantee you, if I do have that other bit of replay and I can actually watch it from the because this is the only angle I've got. If I can get it from the other side, I can show you that Sunderland player is playing a crafty one where he's doing the old dive in front of the defender. Defender's kicking me. It's a foul. It's not. It's not a foul. I don't think that's a penalty. But they get it anyway. Let's move it on. I hate penalties. In all my years playing, coach, never missed a penalty. Never, ever, 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 ever missed a penalty. Ever. If you can figure that one out, you'll be a smart cookie. Right. So, it's a decent penalty, though. It really is quite good. Puts it in the top corner. Boom. Well, not because it's about there. Didn't make any funny noises. Didn't get 2 points. I hate penalties. Let's move it on. Okay, so this is a classic reason of why you move the ball around, right? And how you create space on a field. There's so much bad football in the Premier League nowadays, and things like this just wouldn't happen. But nowadays it does, because people just don't know what they're doing when they're playing football. They don't. It's very, very strange. It seems to me that if you've got a half-decent first touch and you're a bit of an athlete, you've got no football nous up here, you can become a Premier League football player. Now let's watch this. So, you've either got one or two things. Here's the ball's in motion. We've got player in motion pressuring the ball. Okay, great. As the ball goes, bump. When the ball gets played here, there's two options, right? He steps forward and pressures. He drops back and covers. The player in motion, right, that's one way. Second thing, when that ball's played, there, the player in motion continues in motion, and as he runs over towards there, he covers a little bit further over there. He changes his position ever so slightly. So we have 1, 2, okay? That's what's meant to happen. Or he comes here and we have 1, and he goes there, 2. That's exactly what's supposed to happen. Under 10 stuff. Basics. Okay? Absolute basics. That's not what happens. And this is why it looks like it's good play from Sunderland. It is because they exploit it and they see what's going on. And I guarantee you, I don't even know who this is on the hill. That's probably going to be Granit Xhaka because he's got a footballing IQ. Watch the difference, right? Watch this. As this ends up unfolding, boom, ball goes there. He starts running off. Do you see the problem? Where did I say those two circles would be? Wanted to be? No, he's moved a little bit. He was about there, okay? So we would have one player there and we would have one player in there. Covering what? This space here, okay? He doesn't. He stands there like a lemon. So if you're doing this in technical terms, both of these players are pressuring the ball here, right? Because he's not covering the space and he's not helping cover the players that's pressuring the ball. So as he runs over here, all this kiddie does is plays it straight back to him. It's like, all right, thank you very much. Bosh, off he goes. Now he starts sprinting for the ball. God only knows why. Because that space that they ended up creating happening, that space there, okay, because they can't do simple pressure cover balance as defenders, watch what happens now. As that ball goes out over to here, you have not only Clown Shoes here, who stood still and didn't cover his mate. By the way, he would have already, if he'd done exactly what he was supposed to have been done, when that pass was made, he would already been on his way to it, and he would have been coming back in to cover the space for him. But they don't understand this because, it's way too advanced, basic under nines football for him. Right, and now you've got another player pressuring the ball. So now you've got two players pressuring the ball, which of course he should never have been doing in the first place. Because does anybody notice what's he's left? He's left a player. Wow. And because this guy has actually got a footballing IQ, please be Granit Xhaka, otherwise look like a muppet. Well, as they both pressure, bump. Look, guess where the ball's going? Well, that space has been there twice in the last second. These two idiot defenders have created this space here, and by the way, this guy's helped by helping pressure the ball, but of just not knowing basic defending. So when this ball gets across, it's still got all the world to, this guy's still got a lot of work to do, by the way. It isn't creating the opportunity, having the opportunity created for you, or the space created for you, is half of the goal, right? The other half is actually finishing it. He does finish it. So getting this space created, which these clowns have shown for him, boom, brilliant. As this ball's played in though, but now there's two of you here. You should have been marking him, which you were doing a second ago before you decided to, run out here for no reason whatsoever and do nothing. Now you've got somebody else coming over to do your job that you were there doing a second ago. Yeah, absolute madness. Now, can he find the bottom corner? And boy, can he. Yeah, it's a good finish. Boom, takes a touch, moves it, and then he fires it into the bottom corner. But all of that has happened by defenders running and pressuring a ball that they don't understand. Cover it, like they just don't get it. They're just like a dog chasing a ball for some reason. Not understanding when my mate's chasing the ball, I've got to cover for him. Okay, now he's going that the space behind me. Oh, I've left a player unmarked in the 18-yard box, and here he's just found him instantly. And two of the Bournemouth players run out, closing the ball down. Madness, utter madness. And then he just, bump, quality little finish. It's a really, really good P-roller into the corner. Really good little finish. But let's move it on. And you don't think professional footballers are dumb? Here we are. I'm offside. It's taking a deflection. I'm going to kick it in. Yeah, you just ruined the winning goal. I did I? Oh, I don't understand. But I wanted to get on the score sheet. Well, utter stupidity. You see, like, there's got, by the way, I don't know who this number 9 is, but there is a very certain different type of player. Okay, and I can go through, I should do it. I might do it on Monday Night Live, go through the different sort of psychology between, you can tell if he's a defender, a striker, a midfielder, and what their attributes are. If they're a striker, like a proper striker, they're genuinely greedy, okay? And even if it is on the line, they're going to kick it in. So if he is a genuine striker for Bournemouth, I don't know who he is, don't know his position. If he is genuinely, I'm not going to be as hard on him as if he's just, a guy that plays up front. Because there's a difference between genuine strikers and forwards. Okay, you got forwards, but there's genuine strikers that, they get extra goals a season because they're always there in the right place, tapping them in and stealing other people's goals. If that's the way, great. But to me, this is unacceptable. He's there watching it roll in. It's going in. It would hit the post and go in. No, I'll help that in. It's funny, costs his team the game. And here's the game-winning goal by Matey B and Matey C. Don't know who these guys are. You know me, come on. Oh, I was asked this question earlier on today, actually. Will I get involved back in football? And and I gave them the answer. I don't want to tell them straight away, but it's the same answer. The reason I don't like learning players' names, there'll be one fan community out there that know exactly what I'm saying, because I start to care. The minute I start to care, then I start to get more invested. The more invested I get, the more time I put into it, and I start consuming it, and that becomes everything that I do. So people go, oh, why don't you learn the names, do this? Well, there's a reason behind it. You've got to understand. So ball's flying in right here, boom, boom, as it comes in. Oh, and they were asking me, why don't I get involved back in football in the UK? Because I'll start to care. And the more I care, again, the more time I'll put in, and it spirals and spirals. The only reason it's a decent ball in, it's a good header, but the Bournemouth defender makes no attempt whatsoever to play the ball. Not at all. Watch. One's jumping, one's trying to hug him and take him on a date. I don't know what's going on. What are you doing? There's a football for you to try to win. Puts no pressure on the header whatsoever. Absolutely none. Makes it really, really easy for him. Like, just jump. If you just jump, you put him off. You just jump, maybe the ball hits you in the head and goes out for another corner. Maybe it hits you and goes over the bar. But you don't know, because all you were trying to do was push him and hold him, push him and hold him. And this is like, I mean, it's so apparent. Like this guy here, this is one of the things that, look, to me, all right, this is, I'm going to be a bit controversial here. People aren't going to like what I'm saying, but I'm actually right. And people wouldn't do this. Defenders would not do this for 2 weeks if they listened to the cash. Which way is he facing? So he has no intent of playing the ball. That's a penalty. He's not trying to play the ball. He's just holding the player. He's not facing the ball. If he's not facing the ball, how is he having any intent of playing the ball? His back's to the ball. It's a corner, back's to the ball. He's not trying to play the ball. He's holding the player. That's a penalty. That's because that's a foul. Wouldn't be doing it. they wouldn't be doing it within a week. And I'll tell you, if you stop doing this and you jumped, and actually tried to mark the players, you'd do better. You'd do much, much better off, and you'd save goals like this. Other than that, it goes in, boom. And quite frankly, Sunderland come from behind to beat Bournemouth, and it's going to be a good run to the end, I think. Both teams are doing really, really well at the top of the table. It is a top of the table clash. Top four clash-ish. Yeah, they're fighting up there, those two. And they need a little bit more praise than they get in the media. These teams are doing great, and I hope they do it for the rest of the season. And we'll be here to watch it on Cash Talks Football.